Hey guys, it's Don Boden from SampleLibraryReview.com, and today we're taking a look at Oceania, the first commercial release from Performace Samples. Now, the library was created by composer Jasper Blunk, whose trailer and TV spots will leave many composers envious. Even though Jasper had just done a couple of freebies, he had worked on a private choir library a few months before starting work on Oceania, and he said that he brought some of that knowledge as well as improvements and variations into crafting Oceania. The library downloads is a little over 2 gigabytes. Sample set is from a 48-person choir. You got 24 men, 24 women, both recorded separately in a hall. You got 2 mic positions, far and close for those. For the library, Jasper really was focusing on cohesion for syllable playability and energy. There's 10 different syllables, and you've got some options for release samples as well. It does require the full version of Contact 5.5.1 or higher, and the library downloads via Connect. That's the Continuata's software, so it's a very simple plug in your serial number and hit download, and everything's taken care of for you. Library sells for $269 US from Performace Samples. I had a chance to just kind of poke around and play through using Oceania here, and I really was excited about this. I think that this approach, although unconventional, is extremely usable. It's the kind of tools that composers, busy composers like myself, or those that are trying to crank out great sounding cues or trailer tracks, really could gravitate towards. The fundamentals of the library here is that it will constantly be changing the consonants here. It has 8 different vowels, syllables, that sounds, and there's no details exactly as to what they are saying, but you can listen and kind of do key switches to force it to sing different consonants and vowels in different orders. But the genius of this library really comes down to that you can play a line and it will cycle through these different syllables and create a very lifelike performance. In the rest of this video here, it's just a first look, kind of checking out the library as I dive in and try to get a feel for what it's all about. So I hope it's very helpful. I'll include links to everything, including sample library reviews, Oceania page, which will have all the demos, all the official videos, and any other review videos I find, so you can learn as much about the instrument as you desire. The first thing I notice here is it looks like there's not a lot of design that's gone into the interface, and I'd probably start to critique that, except I am so excited hearing this sample set. Now, this is the main multi here. It's the Quickstart Octave doublings patch. It looks like you've got your articulations, the 10 different articulations here across the bottom. And then you've got a little over 2 octaves, maybe almost 3 octaves of recorded samples. Now, what I noticed right out of the gate is that this is pretty easy to play as far as getting a nice performance. The mod wheel is tied to your dynamics, which I'm a huge fan of. And just playing back with the shorter notes as well as a longer phrase, it seems to blend really well and be very responsive to either playing method. As far as the controls go here, the first one that jumps at me is this flattened dynamics. It looks like in the website it says this is used to even out the dynamics from lower to higher registers. So here it is without. And here it is with it back turned on. Yeah, and you can really hear that this flattened dynamics evens it out, so you've got a lot more control. So let's go ahead and mute the far mics, and we're just going to listen to the women's close mic. Got a nice sound. Let's just listen to the far mic. Yeah, that's a nice sound too. I'm going to crank that up a little bit more. It's not as far of a sound as I kind of expect. It just adds a nice bit of room to it. So let's do the same here for the men's. Here's the men's close. Yeah, it's the same kind of thing. It's just enough room to add a bit to it. I think I really appreciate this rather than having a super wet, those far mics in tree mics or back of the room mics that just get so much verb. I'd rather kind of work with the close and maybe add a little bit of far, but then also bust it into my main premium plugin Hall that I use to kind of homogenize my drier instruments. If we just click on the men's, we'll see that if we're playing staccato, it's cycling through here. So. I'm not doing any dynamics. I'm just simply playing back so we can kind of hear what it does, because it looks like it's auto intelligence cycling through, and I am wondering if there are a suggested or adjustments for triggering back that, which articulations you trigger back when it cycles through. And I looked at the manual really quick, and what it does is it has a predetermined cycling through unless you override with your key switch to pick the syllable. Now, one thing I'm not seeing here is an actual mapping or indication. You just have to do it by listening to know what syllable is assigned to each key switch. So that's a little... That's a little strange. Although I think what I'm going to need to do is actually write a few bars and kind of play around with this as a main choir to start to get an idea, because my instinct says that Performace Samples has built this in a way that you can either just rely on their sequence, or you can adjust just a little bit to get it to fit what you need, because you're not really able to make it sing the vowels you want anyway. You're just being able to create and ghost up something that will have impact, and I think it's got a great sample set. A couple other notes here. The men's, there's two additional men's. There's a risers. Let's load that up and listen to it. Men's rise, I should say. So these looks like you got a handful of them at different lengths. And logically, the lower ones are longer, the higher ones are shorter. There's also an addition of men's shouting. The only thing I would say here as a critique is it doesn't sound like there's any round robins, so you will have to really move around a bit with each of these sample sets. If you repeat, you do hear that, so you're going to need to kind of go back around with that. The block. Right there, I just wrote a whole chanting intro just off the cuff. There are a couple things I want to give some props to. Even though this interface is super simple, you got controls for what you're assigning for your dynamics, you got controls for your flattened dynamic, you've got your key switch root, which is just really nice to control, and just your 2 mic positions, and then the ability to adjust release samples and to move your sample set up and down, an octave up or an octave down. And I think that this is the only library where on the instrument page listed the library limitations. And this is just fantastic that a developer who, of course, comes from this instrument as a composer realizes no software is perfect and is so upfront with what limitations of what Oceania is capable of. Now, I can tell just by previewing that this sound, the sample set, layering 5 or 10 lines over each other, it's going to sound huge. And because of the way it auto cycles through, it's not going to take me a ton of time to try to pick and choose which syllables are going to go where or what. I'm just going to get the option of going in and tweaking them with some key switches to get something that might be a little bit more appealing with a line that I'm working on. Now, this has just been a casual checking out video. There's a few other in-depth videos, both by the developer as well as some reviewers. I'll be sure to include a link over to Sample Library Reviews Oceania page where you can watch all those videos as well as the official demos. Love to hear your thoughts about the library. Please comment in the description below, like, share, and subscribe. We'd love your support. And head over to samplelibraryreview.com for the latest news and reviews.